Well, it's winter. Hello, and welcome to my walks with a camera. I was planning on going out today to look for fall colors, and I ran into snow. My wife and I had our morning chores to do, so Virginia and I went and did our grocery shopping, and then I went to go and do some photography, figuring winter photography would be really cool. And the roads are sloppy, and this is the first snowfall, so drivers are driving not that great because people have to relearn how to drive in the winter. Like, don't drive fast, take your time, slow down before you come to the intersection. Needless to say, I chickened out. I wasn't worried about my driving. I grew up in the snow belt, so I know when winter hits how to drive. However, I came home, posted some photographs on my Facebook page, and basically sat there and ground my teeth. Then I thought, why not go out and take some images around the neighborhood? You don't need to go far to look for inspiration, and I keep saying that. You really don't. You can just take a camera or your cell phone and go for a stroll. So this morning, I took some macro photographs of the area around my house. It was actually just the backyard and the garden area. And now I'm just going for a bit of a walk to see what I can find from an interesting photographic point of view. I don't have my macro lens. I've got my 24 to 200 mil lens. And when I have it zoomed right out, it's not a bad little piece of kit for getting good close-up photographs. And the snow is just painting the trees and everything in a rather interesting way. So, I'm going to salvage the day, take some photographs of things I find around the neighborhood covered in snow, and go from there. And because I'm in my neighborhood, you can probably figure, well, we'll call it a little bit of winter street photography. And go from there. Winter's been one of those seasons where at times you feel like you're kind of at war with Mother Nature. Now, as I said earlier, growing up in the snow belt, there were times you knew enough not to go out. You would look out your front door and go, yeah, I'm not fighting with that. And you stayed home. And the interesting thing is, everybody understood that. And everybody accepted that you weren't going out, whether it was to work or to school. You just stayed home, shoveled out your driveway, made yourself a hot chocolate or a cup of tea or a coffee, and put your feet up. But somehow we seem to have lost that, where you have to go out and fight for everything and get to work and don't disappoint your boss. And the truth of the matter is, if you ended up dying on the side of the road in a car wreck, you'd have your job posted before the ink on your death certificate was dry. But you know, apart from the cold, and the mucky roads, it's really not bad. Winter is people have said it's a magical time. It's a different time. The time, however, you have to break it down into lots. For instance, the time between All Hallows Eve, Halloween, Samhain, and Yule in the pagan world is called the dead time. It's a time when there's really nothing left. And Yule is the new year. And right now, we are between Halloween, All Hallows Eve, and Yule. So we have the world now covered in snow, and some of the trees still have those autumn colors that I was going to go out and look for. I'll post you some photographs that I've taken last of the autumn leaves. I'll mix them in with these. But this is just a walk in the neighborhood. Look at a very gray sky and how winter has painted everything. And it definitely looks painted. The first snowfall of the year. And that can always be interesting. I've photographed around my neighborhood quite a bit. Wandered around and taken my camera when I haven't felt like going and driving somewhere. This is interesting. Snowy background. I'll show you. That has the potential to be an interesting composition. And I'm only a 5-minute walk from my house. So you don't have to go far. Neighborhoods are interesting. Lots of stories to tell. You can look at the world, see your neighbors. Where I grew up, neighbors knew one another and they said hi to one another and kept an eye out for themselves. Those were the days when everybody understood. You had to be home when the streetlights came on. That was kind of interesting. And you would have all kinds of people chasing you home because the streetlights came on. Those were the days I remember where you disappear with your friends at 8 o'clock in the morning, wander home, and you'd get asked the standard questions. Where have you been? Nowhere. What'd you do? Nothing. Who'd you see? Nobody. Time for dinner. Okay. Kind of miss that. I'm not saying it was a perfect time. I'm not saying that it was great. We enjoyed it. And I'm quite certain that the kids today, when they're adults and are all grown up, they will talk about similar things and about what they did and where they lived and what their childhood was like and what it was like when the first snowfall came. Every generation does that. every generation just views itself as something special, and there's really nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. And you know, we all do it, but the truth of the matter is the time you're in, that's what's important, and how you live your life now. And you don't sit there going on about the world being full of would'ves, should'ves, and could'ves. That's what's kind of nice, walking around like today with a camera, looking at the world in the first snowfall and seeing how, from an artistic point of view, what you can find. It's a good day. Hey there.
How you doing?
I'm good. How's it going?
Very well.
Always good to say hi to your neighbors. So just remember, you can always salvage a day. You can always find something to do. I had plans to go out, decided those plans weren't going to happen, so instead of sitting and grinding my teeth, but to be fair and honest, I did do a fair amount of grinding of teeth, I decided to, well, let's go see what we can salvage and have a look around. Who knows? We may find something very interesting. And in finding something interesting that tells a story, we can get some interesting images. Whenever you're having one of those days where you need to find something to do, go for a walk. Let the walk invigorate you with that creative sense again. And don't be disappointed if your plans sort of go for bust, because you can always find something else to do. Always find something that'll prime that pump or just make all the stress disappear. And that is what's important. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's important. Just remember, when you're out on a day like today, or where you need to reinvigorate yourself, just keep walking with a camera. Until next time, cheers.